Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are digging into Marshall Goldsmith's incredible book, Triggers, to tackle a question that, let's be honest, haunts all of us. Why is it so darn hard to become the person we actually want to be? So, let's just get right to it. The book is built around this central, super frustrating question. We all have this vision of our future self, right? A little more patient, maybe more focused, definitely healthier. But then there's this huge, gaping chasm between the person we plan to be and the person we actually are day in and day out. Why is that gap so impossible to close? You know, sometimes the wake-up call isn't a gentle nudge. It's more like a 2x4 to the head. Goldsmith tells this powerful story about his colleague Phil, who took a really bad fall. And as he's lying there, hurt and totally alone, it hits him like a ton of bricks. There wasn't a single friend nearby he could even call for help. That fall, that terrifying moment, became the trigger that forced him to look his life straight in the eye. And that really brings us to the heart of the matter. This paradox of change. We almost always know what we should do. We get the logic. We understand the plan. And yet, we just don't do it. And that failure to act, over and over again, it leaves behind this really powerful and frankly painful feeling, regret.
I mean, take the story of Tim, this TV exec who spent his entire career in a crazy, high-pressure, get-it-done-yesterday world. It wasn't until years later when he was talking to his own daughter that he realized that work environment had basically hardwired him to be impatient with everyone in every part of his life. And you could just feel the weight of that regret.
Okay, so if it's not a lack of knowledge holding us back, what is it? What's really going on here? Well, Goldsmith argues that our behavior is being constantly steered by these invisible forces he calls triggers. They're like the hidden puppet masters pulling our strings. So what exactly is a trigger? Well, simply put, it's any stimulus, anything at all, that reshapes our thoughts and our actions. It could be a person, an event, a place, even just a random memory popping into your head. And it has the power to pull us toward our goals or, as it often happens, shove us right off course.
And the thing is, these triggers are absolutely everywhere. They're just woven into the fabric of our daily lives. You know what I'm talking about. The smell of bacon that just obliterates your plan to eat healthy. That little ping from your phone that completely shatters your concentration. Or seeing your coworkers still grinding away at their desks, making you feel guilty for wanting to go home. They're constantly messing with our best intentions, and half the time we don't even see it happening.
But it gets even more interesting. It's not just the external world that's tripping us up. Goldsmith says there's an even more powerful force at play, the internal triggers. These are the stories, the little rationalizations we whisper to ourselves to justify not doing the hard work of changing. He calls them belief triggers. And these aren't just little white lies we tell other people. Oh no, these are core beliefs we hold about ourselves that stop change dead in its tracks. They're the sophisticated internal logic we use to give ourselves a get-out-of-jail-free card. Now this slide, man, this is where it gets brutally honest. Just look at the contrast. We tell ourselves I have willpower, but the harsh reality, our environment is practically designed to drain our willpower. We think, hey, if I understand something, of course I'll do it, completely ignoring the massive gap between knowing and actually doing. We get all proud and think, I shouldn't need structure or rules, when really, that's just our ego getting in the way. And the classic, I'll start tomorrow, the ultimate belief trigger for procrastination. This gap between who we think we are and how we actually behave, that's where change goes to die. And all of it is building to what Goldsmith says is the most critical point in the entire book, the incredible, overwhelming, and usually invisible power of our environment. So here's the bottom line, the big idea. We walk around with this illusion that we're in the driver's seat. But the reality is, if we're not actively, consciously creating and controlling our environment, then our environment is, without a doubt, creating and controlling us. It's dictating our behavior way more than we'd like to admit. And here's the crucial detail. We have to stop thinking of our environment as one big static thing. It's not. It's situational. It literally changes from moment to moment. Think about it. The person you are at a loud party is probably different from the person you are in a quiet library. The minute you walk into a new room or talk to a new person, your environment shifts, and you shift right along with it. This whole concept is just perfectly captured in the story of Nadim. Here's this top executive, respected, loved by his team, a great guy all around. But whenever he was in a meeting with one specific colleague, Simon, he became a totally different person, combative, defensive, even rude. Now, Nadim's behavior wasn't some deep character flaw. It was purely situational. It was triggered by what Goldsmith calls the Simon environment.
The huge insight here is that Nadim didn't need a personality transplant. He just needed to learn how to manage his own reactions inside that one specific, predictable situation.
Okay, so if our willpower is basically a myth and our environment is running the show, where does that leave us? What on earth are we supposed to do to actually make a real, lasting change? Well, the very first step is to just throw out this fantasy of the big light bulb moment. Lasting change almost never happens because of one single magical event or one heroic decision. That's not a strategy, that's just an impulse, and it pretty much never sticks. Instead, the path to real change starts with something much quieter, but honestly way more powerful. It starts with a new, almost radical awareness, an awareness of the external triggers all around you, and the internal belief triggers that are constantly whispering in your ear, trying to pull you off track.
So at the end of the day, the biggest takeaway from triggers isn't some complicated formula. It's really a new pair of glasses, a new way of seeing yourself and your world. The real first step is to just start noticing. Pay attention to these forces in your own life, which of course leaves us with one final thought for you to chew on. Right here, right now, in this very moment, what is your environment triggering in you?